Can you tell us your name and which neighborhood you live in?
Hello, peace Oakland. My name is Seneca Scott, candidate for Oakland Mayor, #1 on the ballot. I am in the lower bottoms of West Oakland, and it's awesome.
What made you decide to run for mayor?
I decided to run for mayor because the voices of the community, neighbors, and local businesses have been lost in City Hall. There's no accountability or accessibility when we're trying to get answers to our urgent problems. City Hall remains closed. We're still in a state of emergency, even though COVID is well past. And Oakland neighbors and businesses deserve better. We deserve better access. We deserve better solutions. And we deserve accountability in our government.
After interviewing Oakland residents, I found that public safety was the top concern for most people I spoke with. So can you briefly describe your plan of action for public safety and policing?
Yes, Oakland currently is not safe. We have no rule of law. 911 times take nearly 20 minutes for someone to pick up the phone, and if 20% of the time, no one answers. So we need a direct need for more officers. We sit right now under 700 officers. We should have upwards of 1,100. I have a plan to get to 900 officers in our first 4 years, hold that number, and halve our current levels of attrition. But we also need to have nonviolent interventionists to cover things that police officers may not need to spend time on. That's why we're willing to make sure that the macro program is efficient and running the way it's supposed to provide nonviolent services to Oakland neighbors who just need a hand in a time of duress.
Can you also briefly describe your plan of action for addressing homelessness?
Homelessness. Yes. Oakland has an encampment management policy unanimously passed by City Council in October of 2020. This policy provides a list of do's and don'ts for public camping and divides the city between low sensitive and high sensitive areas. High sensitive areas are 50 feet from schools, businesses, churches, critical infrastructure, and just one more, and parks. And in order to have an encampment in one of those places, it had to be city sanctioned and attached to a nonprofit for oversight. We've ignored this policy. We've allowed our homeless population to explode, going 24% in the last 2 years, when the majority of that time we've had an eviction moratorium that was meant to prevent an explosion in homelessness. So our current approach is not working, and people are coming to Oakland because of our permissiveness for open-air drug markets. So we need to make sure that we close open-air drug markets, that we identify immediate options for housing, and that we follow our encampment management policy meant to balance the interests of the housed and unhoused.
Decisions the next Oakland mayor makes about a new Oakland A's stadium will have a huge impact on Oakland's economy in the coming decades. So what will you prioritize when making decisions about the Howard Terminal development?
Howard Stadium, we've been talking about it now since my last election when I ran for city council in District 3. Oakland needs to keep the A's here if it works for us. And I mean, we need to make it work for us because sports do matter. In the year 2018 was one of the safest years in Oakland history. We went an entire summer without a murder, and that was because we were champions and we were proud and we were happy. You saw jerseys of the A's and the Warriors everywhere. And so sports do matter to create a sense of neighborship and togetherness. But if we're not able to get the deal done, it's not the end of the world. Oakland needs to embrace our culture, our weather, our port, and our people. Art, music, and food, accessibility, bikeability, and walkability in order to create a destination where people want to come from the world over.
And how have your past experiences prepared you to lead Oakland as our mayor?
Yes, I am absolutely well prepared to be your next mayor. I was the former East Bay director for SCIU 1021, which put me in the seat of the chief negotiator and lead union rep for city workers in the entire East Bay, for cities north as Berkeley, as south as Fremont, and as east as San Ramon. And being directly responsible for these negotiations and relationships with the city allows you to understand how a city works, what are best practices, and what are the most efficient ways to manage a budget. And that perspective was balanced by being a neighbor, a small business owner, and a nonprofit leader to see frustration in the cracks of our integrity in government, in our accessibility and accountability. And I'm prepared to take those on, and I have solutions for how we can address them.
And is there anything I didn't ask that you'd like Oaklanders to know?
Yes, you didn't ask about my garden that we're in, or my plans for the Department of Agriculture And I want to bring a edible city to Oakland, where we're taking advantage of all of our accessible land, our tax-abated lots, our blighted lots, to put in localized, soil-based, decentralized agricultural system that can feed ourselves and our neighbors. And this is something that we have proof of concept here in the lower bottom, that growing food and raising community livestock makes the community safer and brings neighbors together in ways that matter.
Great, thank you so much. And to close out, can you recommend a local restaurant that you wish more people knew about?
Yes, I want to recommend a restaurant that was started on this street. The first pop-ups were in this garden, and that restaurant is This Is Day Trip on Temescal Avenue, I believe. And it was founded by Finn and Stella, a husband and wife, and some of the earliest creations come from this garden. They use food here, and it's just an amazing experience. You'll be supporting a local business, and it's some of the best food that one can possibly eat.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Cool.
You guys want to take those tomatoes?
No.
You sure?
You worked hard on
All
those.
right, I'll eat them today.
I'll take
Those
one
are the
of them
best
to
ones.
taste it.
What's up?
I'll take one or two to taste it.
Yeah, they're for pasta. As opposed to like, they have a certain texture